As we now approach 1 year since the deadly hill country floods, Texas is rolling out new flood warning sirens in the hardest hit areas. But a CBS Texas ITeam investigation found big gaps still exist, leaving many communities without any kind of warning system at all. So tonight, investigative reporter Brian New examining whether lawmakers have fixed the problem or just responded to a crisis.
Sit along the banks of the Guadalupe River, and it sounds peaceful. Flowing water, summer breeze, the quiet of the hill country. But last year, as deadly floodwaters rushed downstream, there was one sound missing.
It was obvious that if sirens had gone off down the upper Guadalupe rivershed as this wall of water was coming down, then people could have had a last-minute warning to get to higher ground. Senate Bill 3 requires the Texas Water Development Board.
In the days after the July 4th flood, State Senator Paul Betancourt pushed to install outdoor warning sirens in flood-prone areas. Lawmakers moved quickly, approving a $50 million plan. And now those sirens are starting to go up.
This will be the last siren, maybe the one that gets people out of the way. And that's a legislation worth writing and fighting to pass and making sure that it got there on time.
How high did the water get here?
About 27 feet in under 27 minutes.
In the early morning hours of July 4th, Randy Murphy woke up to danger. He moved quickly through his ranch, making sure everyone got to higher ground.
We were very blessed. We didn't have any deaths, but it was there were people that were not as fortunate.
Do you think sirens would have made a difference?
No, because you wouldn't have been able to hear them in that kind of a storm.
Murphy says he believes lawmakers, in a rush to act, oversimplified a complex problem.
They really didn't understand what they were saying. They didn't have the background, and they still don't. But here we are.
What's needed, he argues, is something far more sophisticated. A connected network of sensors feeding real-time data capable of pushing targeted alerts to cell phones, radios, and yes, sirens. But our investigation found in many parts of Texas, communities don't even have that one line of defense. Across the state, there is no standard for warning sirens, no state database. Instead, we found systems that are outdated, broken, or missing entirely.
But tomorrow, this siren may mean the real thing.
In some towns like Valley View, sirens date back to the 1950s. And when they're needed the most, these sirens don't always work.
I mean, there was nobody prepared. Nobody had a clue.
In 2024, as a tornado headed towards town, a volunteer firefighter rushed to unlock the gate to sound the alarm. But the siren never made a sound. The city later discovered it had a faulty wire.
We probably have just less than a dozen.
In other places like Fannin County, there's not enough sirens. Just 12 sirens covered nearly 900 square miles, an area that's bigger than Houston.
So what's preventing the county from putting up a dozen more?
Budgetary restrictions, budgetary constraints.
We contacted all 254 counties and identified more than 2,000 sirens statewide. But that still leaves large parts of Texas out of reach of any warning. In the new state funding, it only applies to hill country counties hit by last year's floods.
We have a patchwork of sirens out there.
Betancourt says lawmakers had to start somewhere, but warns communities shouldn't wait for the state.
We don't need to go through another natural disaster for everybody to realize that we need to get our outdoor warning sirens up and running, use our local monies wisely, use these state funds, and let's get the job done.
Back along the Guadalupe, a new siren now stands roughly a mile from Randy Murphy's ranch. Last month, it was tested, but Murphy says he never heard it.
If they said sirens are going to be it, we're no further along today than we were back on July 4th.
So far, 8 sirens have been installed as a part of this $50 million effort to expand siren coverage here in the Hill Country. These sirens were placed along the south and north fork of the Guadalupe River, strategically placed on campsites to make sure that the people there will hear them. Up next are these 29 counties here in the Hill Country. They have signed agreements with the state and are in the process of identifying the best location for these sirens. With the I-Team, Brian New, CBS News, Texas.
In celebration of America's 250th birthday, Rock Island Auctions is selling several pieces of American history. Photojournalist Mike Kinney shows us what's on the auction block tomorrow.
What we have here today is the American sale. This is a true cross-cut section of American history, and looking at, like I said, the history and celebrating the 250th anniversary of our nation through the lens of fine and historic firearms, because they do tell the story. They tell the story of America. What we have here is an AIM sword that was presented to George Armistead. George Armistead was the commander at Fort McHenry at the Battle of Baltimore in 1814 during the War of 1812. George Armistead ordered and commissioned the Star-Spangled Banner, which was raised above Fort McHenry, and Francis Scott Key was in the bay, who then wrote the national anthem. So this sword was presented to the man who inspired our national anthem by having the Star-Spangled Banner commissioned. It's a high-grade exhibition presentation AIM sword. On the shield here at the hilt, you have the inscription. We don't have pieces like this come through all the time, and this is one of the most significant and important pieces in American history, as it did inspire our national anthem. So here we have serial number 1 Henry rifle that was presented to Edwin M. Stanton, who was the Secretary of War in Lincoln's cabinet. There's a grouping known as the Lincoln Cabinet guns. Serial number 1 was presented to Secretary of War Edwin Stanton. Serial number 6 was presented to President Abraham Lincoln himself. That gun now resides permanently and for an eternity in the Smithsonian. Winchester, Colt, your 2 most iconic firearm brands in American history. And here we have Army 4-star General Norman Schwarzkopf, personal sidearm Beretta, model M9. We were on the hunt for highly specific, national treasure worthy, for lack of a better term, absolutely national treasures for this auction, spanning the Revolutionary War to the modern era and everything in between. This is your chance to buy a piece of American history and a national treasure.
This is the largest historical renovation project in the nation right now. The Baker Hotel is right here in Little Old Mineral Wells, Texas.
Little Old Mineral Wells. Over the past century, the Baker Hotel has been many things to the town of Mineral Wells, from anchoring its identity to becoming a decaying reminder of the good days long gone. But now, after many attempts, there's a fresh effort underway to restore the beloved hotel. And this one, honestly, feels a little bit different. Located just over an hour west of Fort Worth, if you're new to here, our Robbie Owens went to Mineral Wells, along with photojournalist Mike Kinney, to get a good look at the effort to bring the old Baker back.
If you look past the rust, dust, and decades of decay.
Whereas if these walls could talk, it would just be unbelievable, the things that we would learn.
Your imagination might just begin to remind you of the magic that was once the Baker Hotel.
This building is beautiful. It holds so much history. Stars and celebrities used to dine here and used to stay here. And so people are going to want to be a part of that story.
Built in 1926, the Baker story in many ways mirrors that of Mineral Wells.
In short version, we were booming and then we weren't, and we're coming back. There's a huge revitalization effort that's happening in this town, and it's happening piece by piece with a lot of people who are coming together, who love this community, who want to see something special happen here.
Even surrounded by safety fencing, there's nothing more special here than the Baker Hotel.
People want to do things good for their community.
Cody Jordan is with the development team working to restore its glory, and a lot has happened since they were handed the keys in 2019.
So far in the project, we've done all of the windows, all of the doors, all of the asbestos abatement has been completed. The roof has been completed.
The Baker is a historical renovation, so nothing moves quickly, and the process demands meticulous documentation. Some 400,000 photos taken so far. Still, most of that work has been happening away from the eyes of a most curious community until now.
This will look like a fine dining experience.
Event whisperer Lindsay Montgomery has earned a reputation for grand ideas and fabulous parties. Even as construction continues, she's unleashing that energy to create a night at the Baker.
They can get behind the fence and they can feel the life that's still in these buildings.
But oh my, did she underestimate the opportunity's impact?
And I said, okay, push go. And all of the devices, all at once, just ding, ding, vroom, vroom, vroom. All 250 seats were sold out in 3 hours. I think people are going to step inside the door and literally just be in awe. And the feeling that you get when you're in this space is like none other. And so those who have craved it for so long, and I think people will cry and laugh and smile and just not want to leave.
Sunday's Night at the Baker, an appetizer, if you will, of the economic banquet to come. And nearby businesses are banking on it right now. The Baker redo, although still a few years away from completion, is already acting as a catalyst.
And before we started in 2018, there might have been 10 to 20 businesses at the max in downtown. We now have over 145 businesses in our downtown district, and then an additional 70 plus businesses within walking distance.
And at the center of it all, the promised and much anticipated return of the city's grand old lady. And the world far outside of Mineral Wells is watching.
It's not even open for business. We have 97,000 followers on Facebook.
The vision for the 14-story Spanish colonial tower includes 165 fully renovated guest rooms, a spa, event space, restaurant, and more.
How confident are you in that this beautiful old building is going to live up to the dreams that you all have
I'm
for
very confident. I'm very confident. Our team doesn't give up. We have a lot of grit. We will turn over every stone to make it happen.
My grandfather, who is 96, remembers all the things about the Baker, and now my children, who are 14 and 6, still are hearing all the things about the Baker. So I think that really speaks to the value and the impact that this has had for generations, and the impact that it will have, and the legacy for generations to come.
In Mineral Wells, Robbie Owens, CBS News, Texas.
Mayor Tate is one of the longest serving mayors in Texas, and he's very humble about his 5 decades of service. The city is celebrating the mayor's service over the next year, and one event that's going to be held tomorrow morning is the unveiling of a statue of him that they had made in his honor.
Grapevine is a city that loves its festivals. Now they're gearing up for the Golden Jubilee, a year-long celebration for William Tate, who has served as mayor for 50 years.
It bothers me a little bit that we're going so far and doing so much, but like I say, we're really recognizing it's not a celebration for me, but a celebration of the entire community.
What do you think about that when you hear 50 years in office?
Well, it makes me feel old. I was 30 when I first was sworn in as mayor, and I'm a senior citizen now, so it's hard to realize how fast life is.
At 84, Mayor Tate still keeps a busy schedule. He meets with the city manager every morning.
What is my schedule this afternoon?
And still works at his private law practice.
Some people may hear this and say, why on earth would somebody want to do this job for 50 years?
Well, I never set out to do that.
But being mayor of Grapevine is in Tate's blood. His father, Gordon, also served as mayor. And during that time, when he was just 8 years old, his father let him release the first fish in Grapevine Lake.
And that inspired me to want to be a part of the community.
He said he hopes the younger generation will continue his family's tradition of service.
We've had a history in this community of our family serving and giving back, and for that to continue would be great.
Among Tate's proudest accomplishments is helping oversee Grapevine become a popular destination, featuring resorts, festivals, and shopping. And one lesson he's learned from residents early on remains true today.
They want more city services for less taxes. And we've dropped it from 80 cents to about 22 cents, which we share with Tyler, Texas, as the lowest tax rate of a city of 50,000 or more.
What is your legacy?
My legacy will be determined by the people, I think.
Well, what do you think it'll be?
We've done what they said in the beginning, Mayor, whatever you do, don't lose our identity, our town character, our pride, and our identity. And we've been able to build a modern international city around the historic beginning that we've had. We've got the best of two worlds.
Well, if you didn't know, there's a new mural in downtown Garland, right outside the Granville Arts Center, right at the corner of North 5th and Austin Streets. Kind of sits in that little area once known as the Flats, if you're familiar. Our Dawn White tonight telling us why this community hopes this piece of art will help bring history to life.
Public artist Reginald C. Adams and his team are hard at work, creating a work of art.
We're here in Garland, Texas, honoring the history of the Flats, which was the first African-American community in this area.
The mural is 3 feet high and 36 feet in length. It includes 15 scenes from the Flats, commemorating everything from community and faith to agriculture and business.
I think it gives more of a visual to what we already carry on the inside. Many of us may have pictures, or most of all, have memories.
Community members like Bertha Lipscomb Wallace also helped in laying the nearly 20,000 hand-cut tiles.
Now being able to see it up on that wall means more. It will be there for generations to come.
Her parents moved to the Flats from Plano in the 1940s.
My parents stayed, Bertha and Q.A. Lipscomb, and this little girl here is my oldest sister, Quincy. She also attended the colored school, which was downtown in the Flats.
The Flats was Garland's freestanding Black community here. It existed from the early 19-teens into the early 1960s.
Included businesses, homes, a church, and a school called the Colored School. It dissolved in the 1960s.
It's special to have the actual dedication and kind of legacy of this installment be in the actual area of the Flats because we have such little artifacts left of the actual Flats.
The mural will be officially dedicated during the city's Juneteenth celebration on June 20th. It will have a QR code that you can scan to bring the pictures to life.
I hope the mural serves as a reminder of the significance and the importance of that history and the role that the arts can play in bringing that history to life.
A community once erased, now brought back into the forefront for a whole new generation to learn about thanks to these 6 artists on a mission. In Garland, Dawn White, CBS News, Texas.
Congregants of one of the most historically significant Black churches in North Texas heard their final sermon in the building they've gathered in for more than a century, 110 years. Mount Gilead Baptist Church was featured on Fort Worth's Most Endangered Places list a year ago, highlighting some of the community's most historic landmarks either shuttered or at risk of demolition. Our Don White in Fort Worth today with more on the congregation and where they go from here.
It's the end of an era here at Mount Gilead Baptist Church. Members came together for the final service here in this building, but they say it's just another chapter in their more than 150-year history. The sounds of music, celebration, and community filled the inside of Mount Gilead Baptist Church Sunday morning as the congregation paid a bittersweet tribute to the building it's worshiped in since 1912. Members voted to sell the building after decades of costly repairs and a smaller congregation. The history of Fort Worth's oldest Black church begins in 1875 when a group of freed slaves built the original building and helped to found it. It started in a Black settlement known as Baptist Hill before moving to the current location on Grove Street. It once housed a swimming pool, gymnasium, and day nursery during segregation.
I hope it will always be a beacon to what
I think it was 12 slaves started many years ago, and that needs to be taught, and that history never needs to be erased, because you can't erase history, you can't replace it. But hopefully my great-great-grandchildren will remember this building and remember the significance of it.
To see our ancestors have the tenacity and determination to move, not only building a building, but using that building to help improve the quality of life of Blacks in this community is something that should be preserved, protected, and defended. The building has significance to those of us who have historically known that as a church. But the reality is, the church is inside of us.
The congregation is looking for a new place to call home while the future of this historic building remains uncertain. In Fort Worth, Dawn White, CBS News, Texas.